three-legged down dog with a knee tuck, into three-legged down dog to rock star, into pigeon. So active, active stretch. 30 seconds of the first two for each, and then you're into a minute of recovery in that pigeon pose before we move to the second side. So what does this look like? You're down into your downward dog position. You're gonna reach your one heel up for this guy. Big reach, long spine. Think about toes staying down as best you can. You're gonna pull your knee in towards the same elbow. Exhale, you're gonna reach. Big inhale, pull back in. And then once the 30 seconds here is up, you're gonna go from your downward dog into your rock star. So you're gonna bring that foot over towards the ground. Hand comes up and you're opening through the back and the hand. Now you can stay here. I'd encourage you to stay here as long as you can for that 30 seconds. It's only gonna be about 20 seconds once you do getting set up on one side, and then planting the hands back down, reach the leg back up high, sneak that leg forward into as close to that hand as possible or that elbow as possible, and you're into a pigeon. Now, based off of the room, I'd encourage you to recommend staying up high for at least 15 seconds to square the hips off and then lower yourself down towards your elbows. Have a nice long spine here, open up through those glutes. And now when you go to switch sides, you're going to plant your hands underneath your shoulders, curl the back toe, extend that leg back high, and then find your way down before the next side repeats the exact same thing, going back into that knee tuck, okay? Now, what do you do in Rockstar if it does not work for people? Because three-legged down dog might not even work for people, so what would that modification look like? Being in your down dog, it might just be that people come into downward dog and then come down and they tap their knees to the ground and they come back up. That is totally fine and completely appropriate instead of having to single arm, single leg, or single leg with all that stability in the upper body. Okay, so that would be the modification for the downward dog. Now into the rock star, because it's a pretty big move, right? So you're, instead of doing downward dog three-legged, you're here, and you're gonna find your way back up high and back down. And then maybe instead of coming into that full rock star of that big deep rotation, they're gonna find their way down to their bottom knee and do the rest that looks the same, and they're opening up. So the main thing about rockstar versus a glute bridge lift is that it is an open up position rather than a straight up hold. You want to think about flaring from the pinky, make as big of an arc as possible through your body that feels good for you, and open up through that entire hip as well, right? And then they can still come down to pigeon, or they can come down into a seated figure four. It's about knowing your people, and if anybody has a knee injury in your class, maybe you bring this up to them beforehand and you say, okay, I'm going to explain this as we go, but I'm going to show you what you're going to do instead, and maybe it might even be worth your time to have the modification written out on a whiteboard, one or two, and just give those to people when they walk in the door. Thinking about certain people that might have a knee issue, that it might not just feel good at all, and it's too quick of a practice of a session really to just for them to feel comfortable slowing down every time, right? And try to figure it out. So that's what I recommend, is have those whiteboards ready. Be ready for those people for modifications for this one session. But